Hey guys, welcome back. So, have you ever felt like you were being charged more just because you're a foreigner? Well, here in Albania, just like in many other places, there's something called the foreigner tax. Today, I'm going to share 5 areas where foreigners often pay more based on my experience and how to avoid it. So, grab your coffee and let's dive in. So, the first of the foreigner taxes that we ran into were taxis. Especially, I was so reluctant, and this is something that I learned when we were in China, and I was really reluctant with it because if I need to go somewhere, how do I tell them where I'm going? And I could show them on Google Maps, but how do you say, I'm a foreigner, charge me more? Right? So ways that you do get charged more is if you don't know the route, they can take the long way. Or sometimes they'll give you a flat rate and it's a lot higher than what other people, what the meter would be or what they would normally drive. So my experience with this was we were here for a couple days. We were apartment searching and the real estate agent had this apartment. It's actually this one here in Fresco. And I was like, okay, well, let me figure out a ride and a taxi and then I'll call you back. And she said, oh, I have a friend. So I'm like, oh, okay. And she's like, yeah, so I'll give him your number and I'll send him the contact and then he can reach out to you and you can arrange it that way. So I said, okay, perfect. So she gave me his number and she also gave it to him as well. So we got in touch with each other anyway. And he quoted me 2,000 lek. So 2,000 lek is about 20 euros. And I was like, that's not bad considering this is like a 30-minute drive away. That's really not bad, right? Coming from Canada, to give you perspective, that's pretty much what I pay. That's actually, well, Canadian dollars worth less, but I pay about $25 to go to work one way when I was working in Canada. And it's about the same distance, I would say, from Fresco, which is local. Anyway, so I turned around and I was like, okay, well, what about getting back? And he said, no, don't worry. For 2,000, I'll wait there and I'll give you right back into town. So I thought, okay, so it's like 1,000 each way. Perfect. So we came out here. We came to see the apartment. He brought us here. Dropped us back off at the Airbnb. It was perfect. We loved it. We got the apartment. A week later, we reached out to him because now we're moving and we have our suitcases and we have the dogs. And so I was like, okay, so 1,000, right? Because like it was 2,000 return. And he's like, no, it's 2,000. And I'm like, but it's just one way. And he's like, yeah, but I was charging you 2,000 last time. I just waited for you because I got to come back anyway. Like I drop you off, but I have to come back. So it's 1,000 for me to drive back and forth. And something went off in my gizzards. And Summer and I were like, So I reached out to another foreigner who put me in contact with a taxi company called Landy Taxi. And so I gave him the distance where I'm going. And he's like, oh yeah, we could do it for 1,000. And I was like, perfect. So we ended up going with him. And so it was 1,000 from the Airbnb. So same route, exact same route. And keep in mind that we do this route so often now because the Airbnb was actually right next to where I work. So it was in that same area. So the Landy, he couldn't do it. I ended up discovering Potoko. And this is why I'm such an advocate, okay, of Potoko. Again, I'll put my QR code here somewhere on the screen. So you can get I think it's like 500 tokos you get, which is like $5, okay, worth. And like 500 lek. And basically the route that we took was now 700. Do you think we were initially charged 2,000 for a 700 lek ride? So anyway, so then we're like, okay, now in fairness to Landy Taxi, depending on the time of day, it's anywhere between 700 and 900 on Potoko, right? So it depends on the time of day, how busy it is in the summer versus off season. So Potoko, obviously, if he's given us this flat rate, every time, he's got to factor that in. And that's totally fair, totally fair. But it goes to show you how cheap Potoko is and why we like it. And one time the app was down, something with the Potoko server. So I contacted Landy Taxi and I'm like, okay, 1,000. And he's like, I'm not working today. And I'm like, what? You're not what? So now I'm thinking, great, I gotta take a taxi. So I'm like, how do I do this? I know no language. So tip number one, learn the freaking language. Okay, if you don't want to look like a local, learn the language. So I'm like, So I get in the car. I point to, because there's something like right near where we live, right? So I point to that. And I went, fresco. And then he's like, blah, 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 and I'm like, po. So he turns the meter on and he's going, and I'm like, if I can just like slide by. But no, of course he tried having a conversation with me, and then I had to tell him I'm a foreigner. But the point is, he turned on the meter, he didn't try, and he already, now at this point, I'm hoping he's got his route set in his mind, and it makes it look like I have some general idea of what I'm doing. But that taxi ride ended up being $1,300. So on the meter, it was like 12 something. And he followed the right route. Like I've done this many times with Potoko. I know which way they're supposed to go. So he went the correct way. It was on the meter and it was just over 1,200. Potoko as well. Sometimes you'll get in the car and they'll turn the meter on and I get to compare. They charge you what's on the app, but I get to see like what it would have been, and it's about 12 to 1,300. So 12 to 1,300 taxi. 7 to 900 Potoko, 1,000 Landy Taxi. So even Landy Taxi was giving us a good deal. But Potoko is cheaper. So highly recommend them. You don't have to worry about negotiating fares. You know you're getting a really good deal. So that's my way around that. And next up, apartment rentals. So for that one there, that was tricky for us because we knew that we're going to get taken advantage of. I've watched quite a few videos and there wasn't a whole lot. So I think I watched all the videos on apartment searching in Albania. And something I learned is you can negotiate rent. So I was like, okay. So what we did is we went through the local papers and local listings. Because you can go on Marketplace, but honestly, they're gone like that. And most of them are fake. They're just put there by real estate agents to kind of like reel you in. Smart, yeah? So basically, there's like local papers. So I had the secretary at work, or bless her heart, she reached out to these places for us. And a lot of them, again, were taken, were rented because they're just, people put them in there and then they kind of set the ad and forget it. But some of them she reached out to. And then plus we were looking on Facebook as well. And I ended up finding one. It was through a real estate agent. So you're going to pay more when you go that way. And that's why I'm considering it a foreigner tax, because I think more foreigners go through real estate agents because we don't have the connections here or the language skills to be able to confidently, reach out to people directly. And that one there, you pay half a month's rent. So you pay your first month's rent. Last month's rent is a damage deposit. And then on top of that, you also pay the real estate fee, which is half a month's rent. So the other thing too is we were quoted $475 for this place, and then we negotiated down to $450. Well, we tried to negotiate down to $450, and then she turns around and she's like, that's how much it was. That's how much the landlord's asking. So I'm like, that's not what you said it was. So, okay, well, we got it for $450. So double check that. And yeah. Next, number 3, ATM fees. So if anybody's ever pulled out money here, you know. If you know, you know. They are expensive. So to use a foreign debit card in a bank machine here, you're looking at €7, 700 lek, just to pull money out. Then the ATM will ask you if you want it to convert or let your bank convert. Always, always, always let your bank convert. Do not convert at the machine. They'll mark it up. So let your bank do the conversion. So that's number one. You're going to be paying €7. And what I hate is my bank. I deal with a stupid bank in Canada, and I like it because there's no monthly fees, but I hate it because when I go to take larger amounts out, I have a cap of 300 Canadian. And that's standard. I have it. Summer has it. I asked to have it increased. They said they can't. That's what it is for everybody according to their website. That's what it is. And 300 Canadian. Do you know what that is in euros? How am I paying my rent? Do you know how much times I got to take money out? And you could do it multiple times a day. Okay, so I could do multiple transactions, but I'm paying $7 each time, and it's only like 250 Canadian that I'm able to get on a good day. Luckily, my rent isn't that high, but still. So when you look at $7, €7, so about $10 plus the bank charges you too, another $3. So you're looking at about $15 to take it out. And then even more after if you do the conversion there. So don't do that. Ways around it. I'm sorry. Get a local account as soon as you can. Okay, so to open up a bank account, you need your passport and your proof of address. So rental contract is what we brought. And now some banks will also require proof of income source. The bank that we dealt with for her was Inter Sao Paulo. I'll put the name here. So we dealt with them. It was a breeze, in and out, sign the papers, and it was even digital at that point. Highly recommend them. If you're working in Albania, you have to open an account where your employer does business. So I could create a whole banking, how to open up a bank account video if you want. I have to open one for my employer. I was going to open it there, and then I found out they don't deal with that bank, so I got to open it somewhere else, and apparently that one is harder. So as a foreigner, just passport and rental contract, Inter Sao Paulo, so much easier. Even locals who had to open up an account there was commenting to Summer, some of her coworkers, saying how easy it is compared to other banks I've opened at. So definitely recommend them. And so that's one way to get around. And then don't convert at the ATM. So number 3, services. So it's not just the ATMs where foreigners pay more. Sometimes it happens a lot in restaurants, cafes. And we've seen this. We've had it happen to us. So there's a local coffee shop that we love, okay? We would go there a couple times a week over the summer, and we know what we want to order. So we have like our standard order. I get a cappuccino, she gets a dolce cinnamon latte, and sometimes we'll even throw in a muffin. So they have a deal where if you order it together, the coffee and muffin, it's cheaper. So if you order from a place like that, if it says like combos, order at the same time. Don't order your coffee and then go up to them 5 minutes later and say, hey, I just saw that I'd like to add the muffin, because they can't add it on. So anyway, we go there, we know what we want, we know what we order. But because we were off work for a while, we weren't really coming into that area. So back to school starts, we're back in that area, right? So we thought, hey, like, let's treat ourselves, let's go over there. And I don't want to say the restaurant name because it definitely wasn't the restaurant's fault. It was the waiter itself. And so we went there, we sat down, and the waiter came, took our order, and I gave him the order, and he just showed me on a calculator, and it was like 700 and something lek. And I was mid-conversation, so I give my order, and I'm like, here you go, okay? Like, and I'm talking with Summer, and he shows me on the thing, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. And then he walked away, and I was like, wait, what? This is supposed to be under 500. Like, what? So I got up and I went inside and I went to the cash and I said, this is what I ordered. He told me it was over 700. Can I get the receipt? Because this isn't making sense to me. So he looked at him and he asked him, like, what'd they order? So he gave him the order. And then he printed off the receipt, he gave it to me, and I'm standing there looking at the receipt. It was 470. And then he proceeds to ream him out. Like, I don't need to speak the language to know when somebody's getting shit, you know? So he's giving him crap, and that's why I don't want to put the place on blast, because it's definitely not the cafe. It was that guy. But if we hadn't have been there before, I wouldn't have known. He would have said 700. I would have said okay, and he would have made himself like a 50% tip. So I don't know if it's 50, but you know what I'm saying. So always make sure to scan the QR codes. So little cafes, restaurants will have QR codes, which will bring up the menu. I noticed that at a couple different places, or they will have a menu. Okay, so also there's a foreigner menu and a local menu. Always get the local menu to contrast and compare with the foreigner menu. So this is something I learned in China. Always double check to make sure the prices match, because sometimes the foreigner menu will be higher than that place. And if that's the case, get out of there, don't eat there. It's a tourist trap. But so that's my little pro tip for restaurants and services. Always double check. Always get a copy of the local menu with it and compare them. The places that we go, that's what I did. And especially if you hand me an English menu, I need to see the local menu, and I will use Google Translate, make sure that, you know, it's the same. And then I check the prices and make sure that that's the same as well. So there's that. Now, speaking of which, I do have so speaking of restaurants and recommendations, I have some huge news. So there's something that we have been working on behind the scenes, and I am so excited I finally get to share it with you guys. So we have officially launched our Patreon page. So I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of what you'll find there. So I have 3 tiers. The first one is free. And this is basically our videos are mostly more of the informational videos put in a easy to read article format. So our videos that you guys love watching, you know, the cost of living under 900 euros, 1,000 euros, neighborhoods in Tirana. I'm going to be doing a culture shock. I'll be putting this one in there as well. So the tips and tricks will all be in an easy to read article format. So this way here, you can always check that out. It'll be there, and it's available for free. Okay. So there's going to be those articles there. There's going to be some photos. For example, last week we went to a restaurant. I posted pictures of the meal and the receipt so you can see what's here, that kind of thing. So I don't want to have everything behind a paywall for you guys, because I wouldn't be here without your support, and I want to continue to make content for you guys. So it's there for free. On the paid side of that, I have the $5 tier, which is our coffee and barrette crew. In there, I have, this gets exciting, and each level gets more exciting. So in there, I have behind the scenes content. So a lot of videos we've recorded over the last 8 months, 6 months we've been here, and 7 months. Anyway, that never made it to YouTube. So they're just like quirky moments. Like, for example, a couple weeks ago, we were picking lemons in the dark. We were picking lemons in the dark. That's all you need to know. And we recorded it, but it never made it to YouTube. I mean, look at the content I've been creating for the last month. Where am I going to fit that in? That would be really random. So those kind of things go on Patreon. So that's there. Other little quirks, little moments where we stop and we're like, wow, we're in Europe, and our thoughts on it. And we did a little vlog. Again, never fit in on here, so it's all there. So you got behind the scenes. We're going to do a monthly Q&A where you can submit your questions, and we will put them and answer them for you on there. And I created a PDF. In that PDF is a booklet of our recommendations. I know what it's like coming here as an expat, not knowing, you know, what trusted services, I don't want to get taken advantage of, you know, that kind of thing. That's all in there for you. So either these are businesses that I have dealt with specifically and I'm personally recommending, such as the restaurant section. Okay, and everything there is vetted. There's menus, I've checked them, the English and the Albanian, you know, matches like the food, highly recommended and cheap. So these are like our top 3 go-to places that's in there. Also cleaning services, Albanian language tutor, taxi recommendations, Landy taxis in there, but they'll go obviously. So basically anything you can think of, lawyers, interpreters, all that recommendations, that's all in there, okay? So they've all been vetted for you, so you don't have to worry about getting taken advantage of on anything. Storage place. So these are all places that I highly recommend. And like I said, either I've used their services, there's a dog trainer in there, either I've used their services or I am friends with the business owner, or they're highly recommended. So it'll be one of those 3 reasons. That's how they made it into that booklet. Okay. Then the $10 tier. So in the $10 tier, you have access to everything in the first 2, plus I have a live chat available, so we can basically live chat anytime. Right now, it's a very small group, so I have the live chat whenever, and I answer it as much as I can. As time goes on, I might restrict the hours, but as of right now, it's pretty much open, and you can DM me in there anytime and chat with other Patreon supporters in that tier. There's also a calendar, my content calendar of topics. So you'll get to see, you'll know when I know, basically, what videos are coming out. I have some live streams. There's a live stream coming up at the end of November that I'm excited for, that I want to surprise you guys with, because it's a big one and I kind of want to keep it on the down low because I'm figuring out the logistics. That's on the content calendar, so you're going to know what it is. So I keep you in the know with what's going on with channels, videos, that kind of thing. But the most important part, and this is the thing that really excites me, is when I look at my channel, I see who's watching, right? Like, I see you. But most of my audience is American, followed by Albanian. That's my top 2. And I think Albanian might be pretty par with the American audience, because y'all are spread out. So even though it says UK, Germany, France, I'm pretty sure there's Albanians, you know, watching this from there. So I wanted to do something that helps expats, right, when you get here, but I also wanted to help local Albanians market their services to expats coming here. So I have, and this is what's so exciting, I've been personally working with locals here, putting together a book for expats coming here. And in this book, there's discounts and coupons. So if you have, if you are an Albanian business here, reach out to me if you'd like to be featured in there. Always on the lookout, looking to update it. Currently I have Airbnb. And so I have an Airbnb host who has places in Bloku, and that's in there. So you can get 5% off. I have a tour guide operator who made tours packages specific for this Patreon, and they're pretty cheap. So it'll start at like how much per person for 1 person, all the way up to 8. So 1 person, 2, 3, and then 4 to 8 per person. So, and they're cheap. So there's some tour packages for around Tirana. There's tour packages where they'll pick you up in Tirana, bring you out to Durrës. And another one goes to Kosovo. He's got like quite a few packages on there. So I'm super excited about this. And I also have car rentals. Discounts on car rentals are in there as well. So that is for our Patreon supporters. I'm hoping to update it every month. I also have coming up, I'm not sure when, we're currently working with a couple people, but there could be some yoga meditation stuff in there. It's going to be growing. So we're just launching this. So this is just what I have for now, but it's definitely going to be growing as time goes on. And all the proceeds that come from Patreon are all going to go back into the videos. So whether we go eat at a restaurant and do a big review of different places, go visit different places in Albania, the Patreon support is going to go back into the channel to help grow this channel for you guys. So I want to thank everybody for that. And then finally, the fifth one on the list would be markets. So for that one there, biggest pro tip to help avoid is learn the language. Frequent the same markets. Let them see your face. There's a place outside of where I work, and that's where we go. And when we first went there, I remember there was a guy, he was selling blueberries, and I was like, he was a younger guy working the booth on this day, and I asked him, I said, oh, how much is that? And then he gave us a price, and we were like, okay, you know, that's not bad. And so we got some, and I was like, this was ended up being a lot cheaper than I thought. So we went back a couple days later, and it was an older man, and he quoted us like an insane price. And I was like, that's not what I paid last time, so no thank you. And we haven't went back. Meanwhile, a couple booths down, we have our regular vendors. One of them we call our apple guy, and he's got the most delicious, sweetest, crispiest apples, red apples. So he's our go-to for that. And then I have what I call a tangerine lady. So the apple guy, what he does for us is he'll round down the price. So if it's like 340 lek, he'll be like 300. He'll be like 340 lek, and then I'll give him 4, and then he'll give me 100 lek back. So he'll charge us 3. Our tangerine lady, she will, you know, weigh it, and then she'll give me a price. So let's say, you know, 340 lek, I'll give her that. She'll give me 60 cents back. Like, so she charges me exactly, but she'll sneak extra fruit in there after. So after I pay her, she'll like grab more tangerines and more fruits or whatever I bought, and she'll like fill up my bag. She's so sweet. So like, they definitely take care of you here. So I remember when the first time I walked up to her, I wanted to be like, and I'm like, see, trying to be all like, pop, oh, filamandetta. Like I'm trying to like, the 3 Albanian words I know. Like, so trying to like, I'm not a local, I'm a local, I'm not a foreigner, I'm just here. Don't overcharge me, please. So once they start to get to know you and you start frequenting, they take care of you, and in return you take care of them. And so this is not the foreigner tax is something that is everywhere. I don't care what country you're in, there's a foreigner tax, and if you think there isn't, you're paying it and you don't know it. So the best thing to do is be aware of it. Like I said, the menu thing where I learned about the 2 different menus and languages, that's something I learned in China because that's what they do there. And it's everywhere. So there's not really any avoiding it. You just got to be aware of it. So the best way to avoid it is to be aware of it, I guess. So anyway, I hope this video helps, guys. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on Patreon. Don't forget to check out, at the very least, those articles. They're really informative. I did a lot of work into them to convert all my videos into article format. So definitely check them out. Just by checking them out, it helps me as well because it'll help promote it. Yeah, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Comment down below. Let us know, is there any foreigner tax that we missed out? And by the way, I'm saying we because Summer is here in spirit. She is sick. She's on the couch over there dying. Are you alive? Okay. So anyway, so she's still here. She'll hopefully be back next week. And I want to thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next week. Met Pafshin.